Perhaps this is the 10th webinar of the Department of Social Work, Bharathasan University. We have been successfully having this program. I am happy to see overwhelming responses from the different parts of the country and also abroad. So that is a good indication that our department is doing a very effective program. So I should first thank all the participants for being supported us and for the continuous support you are extending to the Department of Social Work webinars. And also, I would see many new people who have joined for this program. I also welcome my on my personal behalf. I am Dr. Professor Mangleshwaran, Professor and Head Department of Social Work, talking to you right now. And today we have arranged, I mean, very eminent speakers. The seven eminent speakers have been arranged for this program. I welcome Mr. A. Moidin Basha, the head of psychology, Satyabama University. And I also happy to see even our own the resource persons, Dr. Kannan sir. I was able to see him from Miss, the principal of Mother Institute of Social Science, and presently the research director of Chellamutu, MS Chellamutu Trust, Meera Ramesh, who has joined, who is will be addressing us on the recordings in the counseling on the last day. And the process, I also welcome my own colleagues in the department, Dr. P. Ilango, Professor in the social work, Dr. Jerida Nyanajo Eljo, an assistant professor in the Department of Social Work, Dr. Nirmala, Dr. Rajavel, and my own guest faculties of the department, Dr. M. Suresh Kumar, Dr. R. Karthikeyan, and the most important, the vibrant technical teams of our department. But for their support, we will not be able to have a successful program. Even yesterday, we had a lot of technical issues, right? But in spite of all those things, they were able to resolve those technical issues that they none other than Dr. R. Selvamani, Mr. Milton, and Pugal Jodi. So these are the people who have been very tremendously supporting us in the various webinars. That's what I just told you. Because of the success behind the program is the technical team. So that's what we are able to do at the 10th webinar. As you all see that our YouTube also is the channel where you can see almost 60,000 viewers have seen our website. So that is also one of the important thing. And coming to the practice, the webinar, this online training course, the 3 days online training course, it is being arranged for the well-being of the student, because most mainly the newcomers have also joined, because mostly the first years and second years who will be again going for the counseling after the completion of the course. For them, we have made the basic course of and in the counseling. That's what we have made it. Even with the help of Mr. Moidin Basha sir, we are able to bring out a very beautiful title as a counseling as a profession and effective practices. And today we have been the areas which we are just going to concentrate for the 3 days will be of the basic need scope and these scopes and basics of the counseling. And the afternoon we'll be having the process, because that is very important, no? So once we study about the basic and need and scope, and we need to look into the process of the counseling, what kinds of process we would have to look into. And the most important things which we are will be highlighting is the theories, because the theories, when you say professional social, I mean, counseling as a profession, there has to be a kind of theories. Though theories is also being incorporated, and how this theories is put into practice, that's very important aspect. And another important thing, and a resource person from Belgium who will be dealing with how the counseling during this COVID-19 situation, because I know that everyone right now, the India In India, we have reached almost 2 lakhs people have been infected with the COVID-19 so pandemic. And in this situation, how the counseling has to be done. So that is a very big challenges with the psychologists, social workers, and professionals like us. So how we are able to do the counseling in a better manner. Of course, this training, after this training program, definitely I hope that many counselors, I also see many counselors also have joined ICTC, and other who have been practicing the counselors have also joined this training program, so that you can effectively practice. Now the present scenario is that we are having this pandemic COVID-19. So in this situation, how we are going to counsel the people, that is a very vital thing, because even not only the COVID-19, because the stress that and anxiety that is associated with this pandemic. So because many people have been afraid of whether we will be getting into COVID-19, and if we get into COVID-19, so how we are going to face. So their mental health will definitely be affected out of this. So in this background, and also we'll be talking about the differences between, because mainly people do not know the differences between psychotherapy, and in social work we do social casework, right, and psychotherapy, counseling. So these, what are the differences between these three aspects, that has to be there. And on the final session, we will be having the what say our client with the psychometric test. And finally, very important thing for a counselor is to make a record, and recording is very important. That will be dealt by our one of the very eminent resource person. So we have culled out very seven eminent personalities across the country, and I mean also from abroad, to cater the needs, how best we can give about the counseling practices. So with this few word, I welcome once again all the participants, the resource persons, to this or 3 days online counseling program on the counseling as a profession and effective practices. Before I hand over the session to Mr. A. Moidin Basha, I would like to introduce him formally. Mr. Moidin Basha is presently heading the psychology department, Satyabama, University. And apart from that, he is having a separate, is a counseling practitioner, catharsis, is running a emotional wellness center at West KK Nahar. And he's basically a social worker in the field of medical and psychiatry from Madurai Institute of Social Science. And he also did his PG diploma in counseling, passed out in the 1990. And he has 30 years of working experience. So that's a very fabulous thing to note about this, the experience, 30 years of experience, working experience in the clinical setting, industrial setting, and higher education institution, and happened to be a head of the employee welfare of 70,000 employees ETA SCON Star Group of Dubai. He worked in the from the year 2008 to 2014, and he is an expertise in the field of mental health management, counseling, psychotherapy, and training. And perhaps he is a very well-known person in the field of social work and counselors, a very well-experienced personality, because normally we have, he is not only a theoretician teaching, he has put in lot of experience in the counseling practice. Even recently, I would see that a lot of people has applauded him or praised him by on the counseling, because now during the COVID-19 situation, and he has been giving a tele-counseling, because you know the one of the important concept we talk about is the social distancing. So using the social distancing thing, and he has done a very important thing on online counseling and tele-counseling.
So that is very appreciated by many experts, even by the IAS officials and other dignitaries. They have really appreciated his tremendous work during this COVID-19 situation. So in spite of all this counseling, he is also being a resource person to various institutions, talking about the effectiveness of counseling. I hope that with these few words, right, once again I welcome you all for this virtual platform, and we'll have a very fruitful learning experiences for these 3 days. I hope that you, those who all know the counseling, I hope that you will refresh yourself, right, regenerated with the counseling skills, right? So with this few word, let me hand over the session to Moidin Basha for his elaborate on the need, scope and basics of counseling. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. So unmute, sir, unmute. Moidin Basha, sir, unmute. Unmute. Presentation பண்ணுங்க.
I'm audible, sir. Hello.
You are audible, sir. You are audible.
Fine.
You're no
Fine,
problem.
fine,
Go ahead.
fine, fine.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead,
Yeah,
sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes.
Respected
Your
Professor,
PPT will be shared here. Yeah.
respected Professor Dr. Mangleshwaran, Head of the Department Social Work, Bharathasan University, senior academicians of social work from different institutions, senior professionals from the field of counseling, and my dear students. I feel extremely happy to take part in this webinar. This outbreak of COVID has brought greater impact on the mental health status of individuals, families, industries, especially students population, academic institutions, and academic processes. Realizing importance of this and initiating to organize an online course with the theme of counseling and it as a profession and its effective practices is highly appreciable. My sincere appreciation goes to the Department of Social Work, Bharathasan University, especially to Dr. Mangleshwaran and his team of professionals. And also I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Mangleshwaran providing me a very good platform. Thank you very much, sir. Counseling as a profession. The term counseling has been widely used by many of us in our day-to-day life. Counseling is considered to be a humanistic approach and as a tool in the problem-solving situations 15 to 20 years back. Now, in the recent past, it is emerged as one of the enabling profession, like other enabling professions, medicine, law, physiotherapy, etc., as a result of evolving needs of the society and complexity in human life. What is enabling profession? Enabling profession is the one which nurtures the growth of persons' physical, psychological, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Who we termed as a professional? A professional is the one who acquires a systematic body of knowledge by going through a training, professional training. Then he tries to apply the knowledge into practice. He gains skills. Then with the skills, he tries to solve the problems in the practical situations. Then again and again doing this problem solving process, he'll become an expertise in that particular field. What is expertise? It is a similar situation, exposure to similar situations. So after becoming expertise, for which he is financially awarded or he is getting some financial remuneration, resulting with established identity in the society as a lawyer, as a doctor, or as a counselor. The same thing happens in the field of counseling also. Before we get into the field of counseling, quickly I would like to analyze the evolving trends and needs. When we really start analyzing our nature of life as of now, we are all living in a digital era. Our dependency on electronic devices has become increased day by day. Life is more of a fast moving. Speed is considered to be the key for success. And on an average daily basis, we are spending so much of time, first of all, in traveling to attend our 8 hours office work. Up and down, we are traveling merely 3 hours in cities like Chennai. Even in the case of Trichy, a student is coming from Kulithalai, from Musiri, just to attend, to undergo a course from city-based colleges or universities. Advancement in science and technology, especially the liberalization, privatization, and globalization, it resulted with fast economy and better career growth. Compared to 20 years back, as of now, most of us, we are leading a very quality of life. Similarly, a lot of movement or migration. A lot of us are moving from village to semi-urban, semi-urban to city, city to metropolitan cities. Then from most of the people from metropolitan city, they started moving to abroad for their career. World itself has become it's considered to be a global village. Sitting in a corner of the room, very next minute we'll come to know what is happening around us, the whole world. By going through a laptop or any other electronic devices. That's the way our life has started moving in a very fast manner. Day by day, so many bigger buildings started coming up in cities, semi-urbans, in many places. 15 years, 20 years back, we used to live in the streets which are horizontal in nature. If you walk around in a street, both the side, right and left side, we can see 50 houses, 50 houses. Now, I can say streets are in a vertical form, in the form of flats and apartments. We get into a apartment easily, we can find out, we can able to see 1,000 families are residing inside an apartment or a flat. Day by day, so many multi-specialty hospitals have started coming. At the same time, increased numbers of different medical diseases are also be announced. If you really look at the ICD, International Classification of Diseases, very frequently they keep on adding a lot of code and symptoms and introducing different names and lists of the diseases. 15 to 20 years back, hypertension, diabetes used to come only after 40 years. Now we are talking about juvenile diabetic, diabetic for a newly born baby, juvenile diabetic. The other side, more number of vehicles and infrastructure in cities. The same time, increased number of accident and mortality rate. There is advancement and fast learning by the youngsters. At the same time, a lot of deviation and distractions also happens among youngsters, deviation with moral values, lot of sexual-based crimes, addiction, divorce rate is keep on moving very high. Of course, you all of might be knowing suicidal rate. That is also been an increasing trend. So these are all happening around us. What is happening to the human aspect? 15 to 20 years back, most of us used to live in a joint family. Or the joint family has started becoming a nuclear family now. Now human beings, we are all living in an island. What is happening to the socialization process of the children? The four walls has become a society for them. In 1998, they happen to have most of their orientation with non-living things than living things. Resulted with a lot of difficulties in managing their emotions, difficulties in building better relationship, difficulties in social skills. Say here is life has become more complex. The possibility for human interaction has become very less. All of you might agree with me. Human interaction is the basis for human relationship. Now, know how the interaction is taking place among us. Nobody feels like talking to other person. The moment we are boarding the bus, we are just attaching so many electronic devices. 15 years back, the conductor used to sit in a corner and all the passengers used to take ticket from him. Now what happens? The conductor literally moves around and physically touches each and every passenger, checking whether the passenger has taken a ticket or not. Because the moment we get into bus, we are just closed with our electronic devices. So that is the way the human interaction is taking place. Possibility for human interaction has become very less. The more human interaction leads to better understanding. A less interaction leads to less understanding. There is no interaction means there is no understanding or no relationship. So all these situations leads to accumulated psychological problems or mental health issues. Where comes the intervention of a third person in the name of a psychologist or a psychological counselor? As of now, a country like India, more than 7.5% of the total populations affected by mental health problems. Out of this 7.5%, 80% of the population suffers from anxiety and depression related issues. 20% of the populations affected by major form of psychological or mental health problems. Compared to the magnitude of this problem, the availability of mental health professionals. As of now, India has got somewhere around 6,500 psychiatrists, 22,000 to 25,000 para mental health professionals, which includes psychologists, psychiatric social workers, psychiatric nurses, etc. So with this background, now I would like to talk about or explain about the concept of counseling. In a simplistic way, to understand counseling, what is counseling or a component of counseling? A person with the problem goes to a place, there is a process. A person can be male or female, educated or uneducated, rich or poor. The person could be personal issue, emotional issue, health issue, accumulated stress, it could be anything. The place, it could be a hospital, it could be a educational institution, or it could be a working place, or it could be a social welfare agency or a counseling center. The process is initiated by a professionally trained person called counselor. From there again, to elaborate the meaning of counseling, I can say counseling, it is an interpersonal process by which one facilitates growth or change in another by adopting certain attitudes and applying certain skills appropriate to the context. See the meaning for keywords. Interpersonal process. It is the relationship between two individuals. Interpersonal process is a kind of forward flowing, forward movement, facilitation. It is a collaborative partnership. Growth or change. It is a goal of the counseling. End of the counseling, an immature person will become a mature person. A malfunctioning person will become a fully functioning person. So outcome, attitude, it talks about the mental orientation of the counselor. Skills, again, the expertise or the practice, the ability of the counselor. Context, skills are to be exercised in a certain settings. So in the third steps, in a professional way, I can say counseling is otherwise known as talking therapy. What we are doing in counseling, by creating an open, trusting, confidential environment through active, empathetic listening, we are facilitating the clients to share his difficult situations or problems, and we are providing different perspective of his situations, and the counselor enables the client to take major decisions towards his personal issues. So this is what happening in the counseling process. To understand the process, here I'd like to share one of my experience. When I happened to be an industrial social work manager with Orchid Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals. Chennai-based a pharmaceutical company with 4,000 employees. That time we used to give more focus on psychosocial needs of employees and their families. That was the main focal point of industrial social work department. From the workman level to even up to senior manager, vice president level, people used to come for counseling. In such a situation, as an industry, we were going for a clinical trial. In a B shift, during the clinical trial, the chemical substances were exposed to more than 13 number of a senior level chemist. Then because of that, all these chemist level employees, they have developed rashes and itches all over the body. So immediately, all of them have taken to medical intervention. Within 3 days, out of 13 chemists, 11 chemists responded to the medical intervention within 3 days. Then they taken 2 more days leave. Then they started coming to work. Out of 13, 11. Then the 12th person, he was taking 2 more days more. After 5 days, he was also responding to medical intervention, started coming to work. The last one, 13th person, 13th chemist, even after spending 9 days in a hospital, he was taking very long period to respond to the medical intervention. Then he was discharged. He was also given leave for 2 days. So he went to home and Aram say he stayed over there. He started reporting to work. All of a sudden, he started developing rashes and itches all over the body. First day it happened. From there itself, he was going back to home. While going back to home, the moment he reached home, he became all right. No rashes, no itches. So we were extending 2 days leave. So after the extension of leave, again he started reporting to work. Second time, nothing happened in the time office. He has reached his production unit. The moment he entered into his production unit, again he started developing rashes and itches all over the body. He was taken back and he went back to home. Now that emerged as an issue that was brought to the notice of our unit head. He suggested it's better don't have a scope on that guy, start replacing. So because of his absence, again, he happened to be a senior most chemist. The shift is getting affected. So there was a request to HR department. Then a lot of discussion. The production manager has got a very good opinion for that employee. Then he was persuading our chief medical officer, sir, why don't you make one more attempt? You have a consultation with the doctor who has treated this employee. Our chief medical officer, he went and consulted the Tamil Nadu hospital doctor team. Then the doctor clearly says, this boy, other than the physical, the skin related problem, deep down, he has got some psychological problem. It is better to place him with a counselor. So somehow, finally, it was brought to my notice. I started working closely with that particular employee. The situation goes like that, the background situation. His father happened to be a businessman. Just 2-3 months back, he has developed a heart attack. He underwent some surgery. Now he is very ideal. Then other side, this employee has got an elder sister. She got her marriage was fixed. That is going to happen in another 3 months of time. This is the situation of this employee. So the moment he entered into the factory premises, he developed anxiety. Anything goes wrong to me, who will take care of my father? Who will take care of my sister? What will happen to my family members? So he was very much facilitated to talk about his the holistic situation of his thing. Then by persuading and this thing, talking to him, I said that so we will do this thing. You start coming to work. There is a deal between you and me. I will ask the medical officers to stay in the campus. So every 1 hour, I will be visiting to your production unit. Anything happens wrong, anything goes wrong, we will take care of you. This deal is okay for you? And he said, yes, sir, definitely. I am very much, I rely upon you. I have a lot of confidence on you. I hear a lot of your past interventions, which you have done it to so many other employees. So I got a very good opinion about you. So a lot of acceptance and confidence from the employee's mind. We started doing the same trial. He came to office. So as per my deal, first day, just I visited his unit. Nothing happened to him. The deal was physically myself and the doctor has to be available in the factory premises. Anything goes wrong, we need to address. We need to take care of him. That was the deal. First day, nothing happened. He completed his 8-hour shift. He went home, aram se. Second day, again, I told him, okay, today I don't want to visit every 1 hour. Let me stay in my cabin. Anything goes wrong with you, you can make a phone call. Second day, I didn't receive any phone call from the employee. Second day also went off smoothly. Then third day, while entering into the factory premises, he told, sir, doctor is not required. If he got any other work, you ask him to attend other work, sir. I am confident. Then fourth days, he told me also, you are also not required. I will gain confidence. So my dear friends, this was the process. Then out of another 4 or 5 days, completely he became all right. There was not a single rashes and itches he has developed after that. So that happened because of the psychosocial intervention done by an industrial counselor and the orchid chemicals. Everybody was witness. Then after that incident, any such kind of absenteeism or any health issues takes place, our unit head was the first person. He started asking all the production managers, have you spoke to Mr. Basha on these issues? So that was the way I was established the industrial counseling in the minds of orchid chemicals and pharmaceuticals. Well, let me quickly take all of you of the qualities of the counselor. So now, whatever the experience I share, there you can see the different processes and the skills, the acceptance of the counselor, the confidence of the everything. So qualities of counselor. The first and foremost quality of a counselor should be a very human friendly. Should be very, 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 very warmth, genuine, friendly, interactive person. He should be more sensible. Sensitivity towards human needs, human situation should be very high. So one of the foremost quality of the counselor. Second quality, active listener. Most of you will agree with me. Human beings always they tend to talk more than to listen. Listening is not an easy task. Listening is a selfless act. It's a selfless act. Listening is healing. It's very difficult. Listening is healing. Most of us, we tend to talk more than to listen. So we should be a very active listener. Listening skills are very much important. I can say it's a very fundamental. Then knowing the difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is feeling for others. Empathy is feeling with others. Putting ourselves into others' shoes. The being empathetic is a quality, highest quality of a human quality. No, who is the most empathetic person in our life? You know, our mother. Our mother is the most empathetic person in our life. She always tries to put herself in others' shoes, tries to analyze each and every needs of the family members and try to cater. Empathy, being empathetic is the finest human quality. It tracing out this empathy, it will take you who can be empathetic person. Empathetic person is basically to some extent selfless person. Of course, in this context, no, if a lot of 10, 15 years back, we used to give more importance to the concept of IQ, intelligent quotient. IQ was considered one of the process when we go for recruiting person in industry. Nowadays, it is EQ, emotional quotient. Emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? It's monitoring one's own emotions and others' emotion time to time. Now, people are talking about leadership through emotional quotient. The concept of IQ is not there. So, for all these things, empathy is base. The next ones, the counselor should be compassionate, very genuine. All the way should be very genuine. The counselor should be a very effective communicator. He should try to relate with people in a simplistic way. The choice of words, the level of communication, the pattern of communication, according to the client, he has to set. Always you need to go to the level of the client's level and bring them back to his level. She should not stand in a higher platform and expect the client to reach out him. So the communication and he should be in a position to effectively observe, and read the non-verbal cues of a client. So, effective communicator. The next is confidentiality. Confidentiality is the core of a counseling. I can say 200% confidential. I'm running a counseling center in the West Kekener part of Chennai, wherein most of my clients happen to be from film industry, lot of VIPs, lot of celebrities. They used to come to my counseling center and share about their personal problems, emotional problems, and they used to go off. When I happen to meet them in a mall, shopping mall, or in a supermarket, or any other public place, I used to know or treat that situation very normal. I won't even give a second look for that person's. That's the way I used to take care of my clients. Only coming to a follow-up session, they used to ask, "What, sir? You are not even smiling when I happen to meet you in a mall, in a shopping mall, or in a supermarket." I was, why, pa? Why? That's not required. Most of the surrounding people, they know that I'm a counseling practice. At the moment both of us start relating, and in a normally, it will be noticed by somebody. They may assume you have some problem, you would have been approached me. So I don't want to give any item of space for that. So that's the way I used to deal. The same way when I happen to work in industry also, even now in educational institutions also. The moment they left from my room, I won't even reflect or reveal that any kind of extra attention or to that person. That's the way I used to maintain a client confidentiality. The counselor should be a non-judgmental attitude, open-minded. He should experience each and every situation as a new situation, new experience. We should not deal the situation with our carried with our own biased ideas or prejudice. Non-judgmental attitude is very much important. Of course, the actor should be highly resourceful. His social currency, his social capital, or his social contact should be very, very, very rich, I can say. For anything, the counselor should be in a position to organize so many resources for settling up the issue of the client. She should maintain better professional network. You should have a better relationship with so many different professionals, who could be doctors, lawyers, engineers, agencies. An appropriate time, short span of time, you should be in a position to tap right resource persons. You should send across the client to the right place on a right time. Because of that, the client should get benefited. So highly resourceful. The next one is the counselor should be highly knowledgeable, knowledge packed, and highly skilled. After talking to a person, the counselor should be in a position to say, to come to arrive a conclusion that person has got this kind of problem, at least to arrive a provisional diagnosis. That's more important. That is all very much, of course. Here, most of our senior social work academicians are attending. I very much, here I would like to relate myself with my institute. All my professors, they played a very important role in exposing me to different practical problem solving situations. Expertise exposure to similar situations. Expertise is very important. We are approaching a doctor. The moment we talk about one symptom, the rest of the symptoms is revealed by the doctor. From where it is coming? Repeated exposure to similar situations. The doctor happened to meet so many patients with a similar kind of symptoms. From there only, he gained that expertise. During my student period, my teachers, all of them who taught psychiatric social work and medical social work, they encouraged me to spend more time in the psychiatric department of Rajaji Hospital. And still I remember. So knowledge and skills is very much important. The last quality of the counsel is the self-awareness. Yeah, in spite of the all qualification, the counsel is also a human being. He also possesses, he also has his own strengths and weaknesses. If the magnitude of the problem goes beyond the counselor's capacity, then he should be in a position to refer the case to the next professionals. So that's what these are the very fundamental basic qualities of a counselor. So quickly now, I would like to take you where mental health counselors find a job or work. Based on their interests and competencies, they can select different settings. They can be a part of educational institutions, hospital settings, family settings, industrial settings, non-governmental organizations, or they can also go for their own private practice. It all depends on their competency level, knowledge level, skill level. One thing here I'd like to emphasize: to develop ourselves, to become a counselor, the qualities, skills, and process of counseling is same, irrespective of the setting. Of course, followed by these sessions, a senior professor, respectable senior professor, Guru Bharti sir, is going to talk about all those areas. Counseling processes and skills. But here, this is the qualities, skills, and the process are same. Qualities I have listed out. Micro level, macro level skills are going to be taught by next resource person. Process is study, diagnosis, intervention, follow-up. But here we'll talk about the settings. What is in an educational institution the outcome of counseling? In an educational institution, the expected outcome of counseling is a better academic performance of the student. So, to bring out that, we should be very much equipped with the domain knowledge of an educational institution. Domain knowledge, learning abilities, teaching learning process, are the different issues of the student population or the teaching population. These are all very much important. That's called the domain knowledge. Along with the basic qualities, skills, and process, then applying this domain knowledge in an educational institution, a counselor will be able to bring out the better academic performance of the student. When you talk about education institutions, you can select schools and colleges. When you talk about again schools, you should be thorough with mental health problems among school children and role of a counselor. When you talk about again higher educational institutions, again it is a post-adolescent period. Motivation, goal setting, personality development, self-effectiveness, learning pattern, distraction, relationship building, many other things will be the college students. The needs of the college students are different from the needs of the school children. So we should be in a position to sensitize the mental health problems or mental health needs in the minds of school teachers when we are working as a school counselor. The same way, when we are working in a higher education institution, we should also conduct workshops, a different training program, and mental health problems among the college students and all of faculty. We have to enable the teaching faculty to identify the needy student. To identify the needy student itself demands certain qualities and skills, without which the teaching faculty, other teaching faculty will not be in a position to help us. So we have to, in a comprehensive way, we have to develop a lot of knowledge pack and the skills appropriate to settings, the domain knowledge. The same way, when we are talking about hospital settings, it could be again a medical setting or a psychiatric setting. Medical settings, then we have to have the domain knowledge of a lot of major medical illnesses, communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases, more of a health psychology aspect, body-mind coordination, psychosocial aspect of each illness behavior. So accordingly, we need to, intervene the client or affected patient along with other medical team members. The same way it goes to psychiatry settings, again the same. We need to thorough with symptomatology, neurosis, psychosis, addiction, suicide, depression. After talking to one person within another 20 to 20 minutes, we should be in a position to say this person has suffered from a neurotic illness. This person has recently has got acute symptoms of schizophrenia. Or when we deal with the children, we should be in a position to say talk about the nature of behavior problem or emotional problem. So hospital settings, we should again, illness behavior, different knowledge about major medical illnesses. When we talk about psychiatry settings, psychiatry, clinical psychology, and all these areas, that is very much important. That's called domain knowledge. So when we are practicing hospital settings, what is the expected outcome? Expected outcome is the positive health. The same way, when we go and apply the same thing in family setting, the expected outcome is establishing a harmonious relationship. When we talk about family settings, we should be, the domain knowledge is the concept of family, the components of family life functions, how one can build a better interpersonal relationship, how one can plan for a marriage of concept of marriage. Family also is an institution. It has got its own function. So all these things will come as a domain knowledge. Conflict management, family dynamics. So these are all domain knowledge. The same way, when we are practicing this thing in the industry, the outcome will be the better performance or productivity of the employee. In an industrial setting, we should quickly come to know the domain knowledge is what's nature of the business, what are the different processes of the business, what are different segments of that organizations, hierarchy, different profile of people. So these are called the domain knowledge. So along with the basic qualities, skills, and processes, if you put this domain knowledge, then we will be able to work in any kind of educational institutions or hospital settings or family settings or industrial settings as a school counselor or a students counselor or a health counselor or a psychiatric social worker or a family counselor, industrial counselor. Then we can also start our own NGO. We can identify it. When we talk about educational institution, again, the disability, slow learners, their needs is totally different. Intellectual disability, So lot many things. So NGO, we can start our own NGO focusing on a particular issue. We can also continuously we can drive. Then of course private practice. Quickly, then I would like to analyze the job description of a mental health counselor. Normally, these mental health counselors, they work with individuals, groups, families, organizations, and community to improve the mental health care. They encourage clients to discuss their emotions and experience. These mental health counselors examine issues including substance abuse, aging, bullying, anger management, career designing, relationship building, self-image, stress, and suicide. The mental health counselors, they work with families, interpersonal problem, family conflict, people going for divorce, etc. They also help clients design goals, plan activities, and gain insight. They used to develop a lot of therapeutic processes based on the nature of the problem. It could be emotional problem or a behavioral problem, or it could be adjustmental problem. It could be a stress-related problem. They are in a position to refer, with the help of other professionals, they used to sort out the clients, address the client's needs. Then wherever they work, they try to adopt that holistic approach, putting mind and body coordination to improve the mental health care of the client. What are the outcome? What are the benefits of counseling? Counseling means it's a for him first I can say it's a cathartic experience, a ventilation of his emotions. Second, we are putting him to derive. I mean, he derives thoughts from different perspective. Here, I would like to share another important. Recently, I have experienced my experience. My number is very familiar in the minds of all my Satyavama student populations. 1.5 months, 2 months back, early morning, I happened to see one missed call from one of my students. Early morning, 6 o'clock. I started calling him, then I was asking, you will call me? Yes. Then he was talking from, sir, I made this call from Nagapatnam. Okay, fine. What's the thing, sir? Sir, I'm in a lockdown period. I'm in this thing. Yesterday, throughout night, I didn't sleep properly. Why, pa? What's the problem? Oh, I think something went wrong between me and my parents. What went wrong? What is the things? No, they are not understanding me properly. So I'm very much upset. So what is happening? Why they are not understanding you properly? Then he started telling the whole situations. No, I'm from Nagapatnam. No, I'm doing my first BE Computer Science Engineering. I successfully completed my first semester. Now I'm in the second semester. So after joining Satyavama, I started developing interest in digital design. I'm very much interested. I've gained that skill. I started doing a lot of digital art. I'm displacing through, all software devices. People are buying my digital art. They're paying and taking my digital art for 400 rupees, 500 rupees. So I'm very much interested. So I started continuously doing that thing. Now I'm in a lockdown period. After using my laptop, I'm spending my time in this day only, sir. Okay. So what will it affect your family? What will it affect why your parents are not happy? My father is running a grocery shop. He expects me every day to come and help him in the grocery shop. Every day he expects me. I'm not going. So he is annoyed. He started hell at me. He started scolding continuously. You are not even helping us. Up to last year, you were happened to be a +2 student. Now, most of the time, you are spending on laptop. What is this? You will not able to accept. You will not able to all these things. They cannot tolerate. You have to come along with me, and you have to spend some time in the grocery shop. He, for which continuously this guy denied. Then out of that, he got out of frustration. Of late, a mother also joined. Both of them continuously are scolding whenever they happen to go for dining or having some food. Continuously are starting, though now, sorry, this thing I'm not in a position to stay in the house or not to run away from the house. I'm in a very frustrated situation. He tell me to way out. I listen all these things carefully. I told him, okay, understand your this thing. I appreciate your artist art design. I mean, digital art. What is happening to you when you are doing digital art? No, this is I'm encouraging. There's a skill. I'm feeling very worthwhile. For which there is a recognition. For which there is a usefulness. That's what I'm experiencing. Okay. Come to the realistic situations. We are now in a very difficult situation. COVID. Only in a, two per day. The grocery shops are allowed to run only for 2 to 3 or maximum 4 hours in a day. Even people with money, without money, they are very much suffering to get their grocery. Only in a very limited distance, certain grocery shops are there. So definitely your father is helping so many people to get their grocery. He is very much enabling. He is helping. He is very much part of the helping process, for which his business is also better. For which he is taking better. His business also running. In a given situations, only our father and mother, they were able to reach only 50 customers. If you also go and stand along with them, 3 of you collectively, you can reach out more than 100 customers. Then you are helping 100 families to get their grocery for their daily food. Is it not worthwhile process? That also brings back money, better money for three of you. Is it not a worthwhile process? It is not a useful process. Don't you feel like that? You are not able to see. You are not able to feel. You are not able. Then he was able to buy and he was able to appreciate. Then I started talking to the parents. Look, up to last year he was a school student. Now he has started becoming a very identified some specific areas. He is in the process of developing himself. To appreciate his skills also. Give some space for that also. So now the thing is, morning 2 hours, let him come and spend with you for the grocery shop. Don't call him after the afternoon hours. After afternoon hour, let him spend time for his own digital art. So finally, it was a win-win situation. Parents were also happy. The students was also happy. Whenever he finds time, he started going to shop, grocery shop, helping the father. After 5 or 6 days of time, his father was making a phone call. He thanked me very much. He thanked me a lot. So what I'm trying to say is putting him in a different perspective. Putting him in a different perspective. So it gives during counseling it happens. We are enabling the clients to derive thoughts from different perspectives. Then we are also, it is a time set aside to confront their feelings. The client feel less alone with their problems. They share the burden of their emotions. They find it easier to cope in everyday life. The counseling leads to improvised physical well-being. It brings a greater degree of self-awareness. It brings a better personal integration. All these things resulting with becoming a better self-effectiveness. Self-effectiveness. So these are all the different benefits of counseling process. So I'd like to highlight the different roles of a counselors. A counselor has play a role of a counselor involving in a one-to-one problem solving process. That is the purely a counseling. Then he can involve in an education. He can teach social work or psychology for psychology to students. He can become an academician in any educational institutions, social work institutions or psychology institutions. Can become an academician. They can become a trainer. During this lockdown period, I started spending my time in a very worthwhile manner. I started conducting webinar to different industries, institutions in the areas of psychosocial, achieving psychosocial well-being during COVID. My number is very much circulated in the government agencies like district collector office, social welfare department, the Greater Chennai corporations. Greater Chennai corporations, district collector office, social welfare. These people they started referring second line government officials. So it was recently developed anxiety or depression due to COVID. I'm very much available for them online counseling, for which I received a letter of appreciation from district collector of Kanjipuram and the social welfare department additional director and from this police department. So we can very much. Tomorrow I'm going to do this webinar for Apollo Tires. Next week I'm going to be. Going to do this webinar for another industry. So we can become a trainer. Then we can be a project consultant. We can act as a consultant. We can conceive, develop. We can conceive, design, develop, and implement a lot of projects based on the requirements of the agencies or institutions or hospitals, whatever may be the setting. With the contract of 2 years period, 1 year period, 5 years period. So we can act as a project consultant. We can be a social and community service manager. Then, as I told you earlier, we can also identify our own NGO. For that, we can become a director. We can be a service provider or a social entrepreneur. Then now the concept of social entrepreneur, social entrepreneurship, identifying a particular social problem, addressing the social problem and adding social value for that. Money is the byproduct. Social entrepreneur. So these are the different roles. Of course, self-employment. Hello? Self-employment or private practice. We can register and we can practice. We can register. We can do our practice. With my experience, I'm saying that first 3 years we can earn maximum 2.5 to 3 lakhs rupees per annum. First 3 years. From 3 to 10 years, definitely we can earn 5 to 7 lakhs rupees per annum. Then after gaining 10 years of experience, becoming expertise in your own field, you can you can earn 10 to 12 lakhs per annum. It's all based on your competency, skill sets, social contact, and reputation. It is very much possible. Of late, this is a different, I can say, milestones of an independent counseling practitioner. The next one is okay, how to get professionally trained to become a professional mental health counselor. Definitely, I can suggest to become a full-fledged mental health counselor. You can choose your undergraduations from the field of social work or psychology or social sciences or any kind of humanities. Then you can do your post-graduation in social work, specializing in medical and psychiatry or family and child welfare. That will also help you in equipping your counseling skills to become a full-fledged counselor. Now, after that, you can also do your postgraduate diploma in counseling. Most of the social work institutions have started offering this course. Then, after that, you can do your MPhil in clinical social work or clinical psychology. Once you have done your MPhil, you have completed your MPhil in clinical social work or clinical psychology, then very well you can register yourself under Rehabilitation Council of India, RCI. RCI started giving a license number to practice your counseling services. Then the highest degree you can register, you can do your PhD also in the field of social work with reference to mental health management or counseling, or in the area of clinical psychology, or with the psychology background. Definitely, I mean, based on your interests, you can set a lot of develop yourself into a psychometric consultant, doing only psychometric assessment to institutions, industries, and different settings based on their requirement. These are all the different professional training. This the last slide I'd like to show my the independent catharsis. Okay, so these are the different areas to start and develop yourself and become a successful counseling practitioner. In a very humble manner, I take this occasion around this opportunity to thank all my teachers. They happen to be part of my career growth and development. After completing 30 years of experience in the field of mental health counseling, again, our mindset is very much important. From the day one, I decided myself to become a mental health professional. Many times I got a lot of chances to become a general HR. Now, all such occasions, I said, my cup of tea is mental health. So continuously, I'm traveling in the same field for the past 30 years in a very successful manner. I feel I'm part of many non-governmental organizations, industries, hospitals. I'm leading a very decent life. This professions always brings me to practice all human values. Yeah, counselor should be a better human being. Then only he can become a better professional. So I'm taking, I always, I'm bringing balance between my work and life. With this 30 years of experience, I cherish my professional life. I feel always very happy and pride to claim myself as one of the practicing mental health counselor. It always drives me. It gives me a lot of satisfaction. Satisfaction is not a job satisfaction. It is a soul satisfaction. Soul satisfaction. Being as a counselor is adding value in others' life. It's a very fantastic experience. It's very difficult to talk about it. The pursuing students, I urge, I motivate each and every one of you to gain some kind of knowledge and acquire some skills and start acting as a mental health counselors. A lot of future, very scope is waiting for you. It is a timely, training program. Of course, considering the time limits, I like to restrict myself here. The scope for future counselors are very high. So it coming into this line, definitely you are going to come into limelight. Your life is going to be worthwhile. You are going to experience a very different life. So with these things, again, I would like to I am taking this opportunity to thank Dr. Mangleshwaran for giving me a wonderful opportunity and to spend some quality time with all of you. So with this thing, I would like to limit my interactions. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Then one more thing, any student level, anybody wants to develop to become a successful mental health counselor, please keep in touch with me. I am available at Chennai. You can note down my contact number. For anything, everything, yeah, of course, I'm part of Satyabama Deemed University. In Satyabama, recently, 2 years back only, they were started introducing undergraduation of BSc Psychology. Now, after seeing the process and the result, the management is very much motivated to go for starting PG level psychology department. So with these things, I would like to stop here. Once again, I'd like to thank the Department of Social Work, Bharatidasan University. Over to Dr. Mangleshwaran.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So that's a very enlightening session, right? So a very vast area you are covered out of. It is not out of your academic qualification. It is more of your experience, right? It's more of experiential sharing. So almost you have covered everything on the aspects of counseling. Before just we wind up, let me just, without taking much of the time, if at all you have any questions, please post it in the chat box rather than unmuting or talking. It will create a lot of confusion and chaos. So therefore, I request the participant to take up. We'll take up because since it's 12, we have to end up the session. Can some of the few questions can be taken up if at all, if you have to ask to Mr. Moidin Basha, sir. Uh, Let me just go through the chat box and find
Yes,
out
sir.
any questions are there. Yeah, yeah. There is. So there is one important, interesting question. Of course, you have given during the course of your lecture. But once again, they want to ask where can we register as a licensed counselor in India?
Rehabilitation Council of India, RCI.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, sir. And there is another question. I'm working as a mental health counselor, but at times it gets hard to deal with emotions while dealing with the specially abled children. How to be more strong?
See, when we talk about mental health counseling, the result will be very slow. It's not like any other professions. But we have to first of all determine and to become a compassionate person, to add more value in the life of others. We should have that kind of mental makeup. If we possess by over the period of our experience, it comes. We should not give it up, but definitely a lot of continuous efforts. Our continuous efforts will bring a lot of change, even in a small activity of affected persons, that and in turn motivates us. So um, it is a mindset. We should not give it up. Uh, is even psychiatry compared to be our mental health profession is people used to say it's a veterinary medicine. We will deal with a lot of things. Many times we will not in a position to see the result immediately. It doesn't mean that result is not coming. It is taking its own time based on the magnitude of the problem. So if we start again continuously working with that individual or group, result will be there. That's my experience.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir. In the COVID, another question. In the COVID situation, how much counseling will help in building resilience to the student's family?
Actually, so COVID, when we talk about the nature of COVID, more than this COVID, because of the COVID, the affected area, that is the more than the affected persons or COVID positive, the rest of the community or society, they have developed a lot of anxiety and panic due to so many socio factors, I can say. So it's better to conduct small educative programs. For example, imparting scientific understanding about the prevailing situation. We can say how, as an individual, we are relating and responding to the prevailing situation. We can also talk about what are the required or modified changes to cope with the prevailing situations. In this direction, if we start imparting some education, definitely that will help the I mean, rest of the population. That's what I believe.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Hello?
please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sir, please explain the job availability in the government sector. So what are the availabilities of job in the government sector?
Sir, if we, frankly speaking, I mean, engaging, this is, it happens then and there. Um, but more than government sectors, private sectors is very much has got a positive opportunities. In government sectors, it is very limited. Even as of now, even district headquarters level, a district headquarters should have a one psychiatric social workers as a part of primary health center. That is not happening. In our countries, especially, mental health is always considered as a higher need, not as a basic need. So a lot of things are there as far as the government sectors or government setting is concerned. But definitely I can say in the private sectors, lot of scope is there. For example, to run a CBSE school, now it is mandatory. A CBSE school should appoint a school counselor. The same way with reference to higher educational institutions, there is a lot of emphasis from UGC to appoint the students counselor. So in a realistic way, I can say the scope is more in private sector than government sectors.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So now during, are you in line, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So during the lockdown, of course, many people are going digital, isn't it? Even our own many people who are watching here, we are also digital, working with what's a internet, right? So in that situation, adolescents are spending their time in video games during this lockdown. How we can stop them? So this is a very interesting question.
So definitely, when we talk about online counseling or online way of reaching out people, first thing I strongly believe, accept and practice. Counseling is a kind of traveling with others' emotions. Traveling with others' emotions. Through active online counseling, many times we will not able to have this emotional travel. But due to various now precising situations, it has become a inevitable situation. We can impart some kind of educational content. As I told you, about some kind of awareness related, knowledge based packages can be imparted through online short-term courses, how to manage self within a very limited resources or in a constricted environment.
Yes, sir.
Time management.
Yeah.
Time management. Or spending a quality time with the family members.
Yes, sir.
Or enabling the students to develop a futuristic related thought process and design some project about their own career or about their own course. If they are very much, some of them, and I told in the recent past, the children are very good in all this kind of. Most of them, they happen to be a computer savvy. They are very very good in writing blog I mean, we can conduct a lot of online quizzes on the subject matter. Online quiz. We can have a lot of debates and discussions. So, for all these kind of knowledge, importing knowledge, probably it will be helpful. When you ask me to do counseling, of course, to in very precise situations, we can give to some extent reassurance. To some extent, we try to alleviate their anxiety features. That alone, then with one talking to one person's for just 1 hour through online, that itself will not help. From with my experience, I'm telling you, even I happen to counsel one person in one-to-one, within half an hour, in our maximum 45 minutes, I will be in a position to reach out the client, the who is approached, to reach out the client and identify his problem and talk about his problem. But in online counseling, for the same thing, I need to spend almost 1 hour 20 minutes or more than that. See, gaining the confidence and acceptance. When I am talking about the counseling situations. So definitely we can make use of this online platform for import some education, but it is very much possible for a very experienced counselor, more than those who are, travel more than 15 to 20 years of experience in the field of counseling. They will be in a position to quickly understand the content of the speakers, to going through his tonality, the response. Based on that, from the experienced counselor will be in a position to bring some effectiveness when I'm talking about counseling situations. Otherwise, we can impart a lot of education aspect, knowledge pack.
Yes, sir. So there are a lot of questions. Let us kindly pardon the participants. We have to restrict because due to the time limit, right? So I take up some of the important questions where Dr. Mohiddin Basha can able to contribute. Of course, there are a lot of things we will be asking in the due course of, because we have another 3 more days, right? So in the afternoon also we can extend the same questions to the resource person. Of course, I will just restrict to 2 or 3 questions so that we can able to wind up the session. So there exists a lot of stigma in the society regarding consulting a counselor. How to overcome that? So even in the rural areas, people, they have that kind of stigma. So what would be your suggestion to overcome that?
Except stigma is still, it is there again. It has to be come from the policy level, from the government level, but very much it is there in a rural level, no doubt in it. But compared to last 10 to 15 years, the sigma, the size of the level of the sigma has come down, especially in cities. People are coming forward to seek counseling help. I'm not exaggerating. In cities like Chennai, compared to the market need, number of trained counselors are less, I can say.
Yeah.
So to that extent, people are started approaching counselors in cities.
Yes, sir.
But when we talk about rural again, we have to still mental health should be treated as an integral part of gender health. Mental health should be treated as a part of integral part of a gender health. That itself is not happening. So even for the basic to improvise gender health facilities are itself are not in pace or place as far as primary health centers are concerned. Then after that only we can expect who cater the mental health needs. So it's a long way to go.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I
Another
can say here.
interesting question, sir. And so, of course, already the question has been raised. It has some kind of a difference here because I would also say we are can we practice without RCA registration? And many people we see a lot of people just practicing without RCA approval. Even as you said, doctor, if you want to practice a doctor, he has to get an approval from MCA, a medical council. If an advocate has to practice, he has to get from the Bar Council of India. So is that the regulation, I mean, getting approval from RCA registration is necessary, but in many occasions we would see that there are people who are having set up the counseling center without RCA registration. What is your opinion about this particular situation?
No, 100% I agree with you. Definitely, many other situations, people are practicing counseling without getting license. As far as the legislations are concerned, there is no hard and rule fast for mental health counseling. A mental health counselor should get a license. As of now, there is no any mandatory kind of things.
So,
But
yes, sir.
to the safer side, it is better to get a license after equipping ourselves in a full-fledged manner, after completing MPhil social work, clinical social work, or MPhil clinical psychology up to that level. If you get a license from RTI, then it is a it is a safer side. Why I'm telling, of course, there were some kind of negative incidents happen in the past. Some because some of the I mean even very well, most of us we can see the students those who have done MBA, they started practicing counseling. So that paved the way for a wrong way of directing the affected persons. In one or two occasions, definitely because of not trained, the person was directed by by not a professional person. So now people are started very seriously. I mean, bringing out the license, they are very much working. So in futuristically, it will definitely license will emerge as a mandatory one. But as of now, as of today, there is no any mandatory. But people are things are started moving towards that. So considering that point, the futuristic upcoming counselors, I request you to develop yourself up to the level of a clinical social work or MPhil in clinical psychology. So better to get a license. Though in that case, you are very much safe. Even in my case, during my it was not that much pressurized. It was not emphasized. As of now, I am practicing counseling, but before almost 10 years back itself, I was registered my counseling center as a, independent training and company. Catharsis Emotional Wellness Services Private Limited.
So under
I
Companies
paid
Act,
my
you have
income tax.
registered. Am I right, sir? Under Companies Act, you have registered or Societies Act?
Companies Act.
Okay, fine, fine. Okay. Oh. So that can be
So
also
no
been practiced.
to
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So now
That
I'm
is,
is this that is a different thing.
yeah.
There's a registration under that thing. Counseling is one of my component.
Okay, okay.
Counseling is counseling and organization development and other areas are the different verticals of my Catharsis Emotional Wellness Services.
Okay.
Moreover, that gives a better image in the society. People will not look at you as an individual person.
Yeah,
They will start looking at us as a company.
yeah.
I'm the founder, managing director of Catharsis Emotional Wellness Private Services. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine, sir. So,
Yeah. So
yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much because you have a lot of questions, but we are running more time. We are supposed to have completed by 12, including Q&A. So, I think we will reserve these questions, as I told you earlier, we will reserve these questions to the upcoming resource persons, maybe today evening or tomorrow or day after tomorrow. You reserve these questions to the other resource persons, sir. So I really wholeheartedly thank you on the Department of Social Work. You are really given a very, I mean, elaborate on the mental health counseling as a profession. As you said, it is an enabling profession, a need-based profession, and as because when you say profession, it is a systematic body of knowledge and a problem-solving field. And as you know that the digital, we are in the digital era, so which is quite inevitable in the today's world. So therefore, rather than face-to-face counseling, even a kind of online counseling, I know the difficulty, but the effectiveness of the counseling can be had only through face-to-face interaction, because it we are trying to deal with the emotions of the people rather than any kind of issue. Naturally, the face-to-face will have, because that's what the effectiveness of the counseling can be. I mean, can be had in an effective manner. And human aspects also, you just talked about the mental health problem, how it is the society is deviated from the moral values, ethical values, right? And that is very important, the order of the day today, because many, I would see, the adolescent people are diverting their mind towards the various other extra things which is unnecessarily needed. If it is I mean, what's the anti-social activities for the society. So we need to look into the pro-social behavior of the adolescents, and the managing their emotions. And you have really talked about the word which you told is very important, the talking therapy. So talking, it's mainly talking. So we have a one to other talking, and the qualities, that's very important, because you just touched upon the top 10 qualities, I would say, like top 10 songs, right? The top 10
yeah.
the qualities which
Mm.
is very vital, right? So because that's a very important thing. And the job description, you talked about the anger management, self image, the referral services, the body and mind, and the last but not the least, the different roles as a counselor, the psychological counselor, academician, trainer, project consultant, as an NGO director, service provider, and all those different roles. And as with your rich experience, you have really shared a very valuable information to the participant. I hope that the participants would have a very rich experience out of his Dr. Mr. Moidin Basha's lecture, right? So once again, I thank each one of you, the participants who are joined for this online training program, and my special
Thank you,
thanks
sir.
to, yeah, special thanks to Mr. Baidin Bacha, and we will keep in touch and for the future programs with the along with the Department of Social Works. So thank you one and all. So thank you. See you at 4 o'clock the evening with Mr. Guru Bharati, who will be talking more much about the process in counseling. So thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you.